But let's start with what is happening in the United States. The world, of course, in a bit of a limbo about President Donald Trump's tariff intentions, as he surprised many by not imposing them straight away, while he had threatened that some tariffs would in fact come in as early as the 1st of February. That seems to be the great unknown at the moment. Now, Trump on Thursday vowed to follow through by his self-imposed 1st of February deadline. However, the president has been known to change his mind. Now, the scope of the duties also remains unclear. More importantly, his strategy of using tariffs as threats for everything has also come into question. Now, some foreign officials, in fact, see the president's threats as a leverage rather than an ironclad commitment to raise import tariffs.
I didn't say that. You said that. No. No. We may or may not. We're going to make that determination probably tonight on oil. Yeah, because they send us oil. We'll see. It depends on what the price is. If the oil is properly priced, if they treat us properly, which they don't. Look, Mexico and Canada have never been good to us on trade. They've treated us very unfairly on trade. And we will be able to make that up very quickly because we don't need the products that they have. We have all the oil you need.
Now, Trump's electoral victory was based on his tariffs plan during the campaign. He surprised many by not imposing them straight away when he took office last week. Now, the president, however, has threatened fresh tariffs in China, Mexico and Canada, but did not actually do so. Instead, Trump directed his team to research the unfair trade practices and to determine if China had fulfilled its 2020 commitments. Now, governments around the world, firms and also investors are in pretty dire need of a plan if the United States were to take a strong protectionist stance, which could disrupt international markets and economy. Now, the impact and tariff uncertainty are also highlighted by the Federal Reserve's chair, Jerome Powell. A Bloomberg report quoting the government sources has shown that Trump's slower than expected rollout of the tariff stems from certain unresolved questions within the new administration. Now, Bloomberg sources said that the Trump team is still debating the fundamentals of the tariff policy, like whether the taxes should be imposed across the board or should they be targeted at certain specific countries and industries, and whether they should be reciprocal. Not only does the administration's economic team lack consensus, but they also lack the key staff members. A majority of Trump's nominees are still awaiting confirmation from the Senate. Still, Bloomberg sources have said that Trump is likely to make good on his promise on Canada and Mexico, with a tariff announcement that could come on the 1st of February. However, both nations would, of course, theoretically have time to negotiate with the White House because the tariffs are unlikely to come into effect for at least about 2 weeks following an announcement. All right, now to give us more details in terms of what, of course, is expected to happen, we are joined by our correspondent Susan Tehrani, who's joining us live from New York at this moment. Susan, this, of course, is the big question, isn't it? Will he or won't he, especially in the context of Canada and Mexico, where he has repeatedly said that Canada and Mexico, the two neighbors of the United States, have never treated the United States fairly on the question of trade. So are we expecting tariffs in the next 24 hours?
That's what Donald Trump has made very clear. It's not just about trade for China. He said that he's very concerned about the issue of fentanyl, the drug that goes, the precursor of fentanyl, goes to Mexico and then enters the United States through the Mexican southern border. And then, of course, for Canada, illegal migration as well as fair trade practices. He plans to impose 25% tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico, as you mentioned, starting Saturday, which is tomorrow. Undocumented migration, fentanyl, trade deficits. But it's unclear whether or not he's going to impose these tariffs on oil imports from Canada and Mexico, which may be exempt from tariffs. Now, if he does impose those tariffs on oil, that's when consumers here in the United States and possibly those countries will see prices go up. That's the question right now, whether he'll go that far. Of course, the two countries have said that they're going to impose their own set of tariffs if Donald Trump decides to do this. But it appears that, at least as a negotiating tactic, he might be taking this first step.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Susan Tehrani, for joining us from New York and getting us all those details. We'll, of course, come back to you as this story unfolds in the United States.